Be the bigger person is always said to those that are being wronged and not to those that are doing the wrong. In society, people will watch a person get mistreated, but they won't step in until that person decides to take a stand for themselves. And I think it's interesting because we hold the victims more accountable than we hold the actual perpetrators. Society judges a person off of how well they can take a punch, but not how well they fight back. And if you need an example, we see this all the time in school. A kid will get bullied at school, and all of his classmates and teachers will turn a blind eye. But the day that child decides to stand up for themselves, suddenly, everyone wants to interfere and everyone has an opinion. My theory is that when people see you being treated poorly, they think that's the social order. And when you stand up for yourself, you disrupt that social hierarchy. And people's reaction to that is to get things back to normal. They want to maintain the peace, or in other words, get you to stay in your place. And that's why people don't care about what happened to you. They only care about how you reacted. Now, there's nothing wrong with being the bigger person, and it does have its benefits. But there is something wrong with only expecting that of the victims and not the perpetrators.
This is Deacon Salty Boss back at you with another monologue this week. I want to talk to you about the burden of the high road. Much too often, we have a sort of really limited code of ethics. We apply them in some cases, and we're hardcore and ironclad in some cases. In other cases, we don't even act in our own best interest when it comes to code of ethics. We really don't. It's much to us as black men to observe the burden of the high road. For situations where there's DV involved, yeah, I'm going to talk about it. A lot of people sort of intrinsic wiring when they're told, don't snitch, don't call the police under any circumstances, whatever the case may be. And, you're thinking to yourself, oh, this is a woman, this is beneath me to call the police. You're not acting in your best interest, because guess what? She gonna call the police. She gonna file that police report. And it's not like, you could really argue with this person to, bring any sort of level of reasoning if they're already yelling, cursing, throwing dishes, acting out, or whatever the case may be. Right? That sort of no snitching stuff apply to street culture, and that's if you involve yourself with that. Right? But you have to act in your own best interest. Much like the sort of same burden of the high road when it comes to work or even in school or whatnot, right? I do believe in meritocracy. I really do. But at work, there's a lot of people who would steal your work. They will go ahead and plagiarize it. Hell, people get together in groups and they plagiarize stuff all the time. Let's, really get that straight, right? But you're told, go ahead, John Henry your way through it, and you find yourself by yourself, not necessarily being able to do the things you need to do effectively or efficiently as other people do, right? I'm not advocating for it, but I know it does exist, right? Because we, once again, as black men, we have to follow the rules, we have to dot our I's, cross the T's, and things like that. Everybody else, they can cheat, they can scheme, they can do whatever they want, right? Much ado about this burden of the high road, right? I would say that, us as black men, us having our own sort of ethical code where there's general respect, honor, and, a level of brotherhood will kind of reframe things to where if you're adhering to a whole bunch of different rules and a whole bunch of different masters, you'll be sitting up there like RoboCop, not necessarily knowing what is your prime directive. But ultimately, you don't make yourself the prime, and it's always somebody else's interest. Oh ye, the burden of the high road. Once again, what are you going to do about that? Because anytime there's any sort of self-interest at stake when it comes to the black man, we're called selfish, we're called, all kind of pejoratives or whatever the case may be, whenever you do prioritize yourself, right? So it's just something to think about. Really, really short and sweet. That's what I have for you.